Good evening, everybody. It is Sunday night, not Saturday night, and we're going to jump into the fire. Last night was my great granddaughter Ashley's birthday party. So, as everybody knows, family always comes first. Hello, Alan up in Cleveland. Tough loss Friday night, but you know what? It happens. And this season is not being a friend to a lot of folks. Tennessee Titans not playing today, and they probably will not play next week. They now have 10 players that have tested positive for COVID, and there are a lot of people telling the NFL we may need to put a pause on this season and try to figure out what's going on. In fact, the NFL is even investigating the Tennessee Titans for violating protocol. Hello, Kim. Hello, Diane. We hope you're having a great weekend. It's been an interesting few days because after we were here Thursday, about 1 o'clock Friday morning, President Trump tweeted out that both he and the First Lady have COVID and have symptoms. And there have been so many conflicting reports over the last 2 or 3 days. And whether you agree with him politically or not, more often than not, I don't. But now is not the time to be wishing ill on the president and the first lady. Need to put the crap to the side right now. He was, everybody knows he was taken to the hospital. What strikes me as odd. Yesterday, the doctors said one thing. His chief of staff said something else, which indicated it was much more serious than what the doctors were telling the American people. We don't know which is right, okay? And then explain to me why in the hell did he do that photo op this evening? Why? Now, his daughter Ivanka tweeted out a photo that said he is hard at work. Well, a camera from another angle, he was signing blank pieces of paper. He would probably be better off if he just gets better instead of trying to put on a show. The disturbing part is the number of people that have now tested positive and are experiencing the symptoms of COVID-19. Former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, who did debate prep on the president, is now hospitalized. His main thing, and this is a legitimate news story, it's not fake news. Chris Christie had to find out from news reports that the president had COVID. They didn't even call him and tell him the president has tested positive and he is experiencing symptoms. You need to do something. A little bit too late because he had already been tested, but he did not hear from the White House. He heard it on the news. And If you watched the debate, shame on the Trump family. The Cleveland Clinic required masks of this is going to turn out to be. And they were offered masks and refused. The people in charge of the debates have now said the next debate, which is supposed to be in 2 weeks, that if anyone refuses to wear a mask, they will be ejected, escorted from the building. Kudos. And they should be. But since this has been going on, some of the crazies are out on social media. Now, I've seen a lot of folks who are pro-Biden making some rather bad statements, just being unsympathetic. I would not wish COVID on my worst enemy. You have all the COVID deniers. Now, do you believe it's real? Well, I can tell you in several instances, there are some dimwits in Chattanooga who still think it's not real. It's serious. You ask, how serious is it, Ron? Well, SMU yesterday. Police ejected the entire student section at the SMU football game because they would not social distance, they would not wear masks. Kudos to the Dallas Police Department for doing that. That's what should be happening. It should have happened at the Baylor-McCallie game. I saw too much coverage of that, and there were student sections just jam-packed. And yet, and we've seen numerous instances of it all football season long. Neither the TSSAA or the GHSA will do any damn thing about a school who does not take precautions. But the entire inner circle of the White House is coming down with COVID. Do you think the governors of this nation will now say, have we reopened things too soon? I don't know. Do not be surprised if the NFL does not just, here in the next few days, stops the season. Because you've got the Patriots, their game's been moved to tomorrow night. So you're going to have 2 Monday night football games. You're going to have the Chiefs and the Patriots, who will not have Cam Newton. To the best knowledge out there right now, there'll be no Cam Newton for the Patriots. And then, of course, you will have the lovable losers, the Atlanta Falcons. I feel as sorry for Falcon fans as I do Braves fans. Because if you think about it, how many World Series should the Braves really have won during their dynasty years? But yet, only one. Kind of odd. And the Falcons, no matter how big a lead they have, they're going to blow it. But if you saw the Georgia-Auburn game, you saw shots of the student section in Athens, and they were just as bad as SMU, except they didn't eject the students. Shame on you. Now, everybody knows I'm not a huge Tennessee fan, but all accounts are it was done the right way in Knoxville. And hello, Michelle. We got a visitor from California, by the way, Amanda Beltran. And I do believe masks work. I believe masks work. And the vast majority of medical doctors believe the same thing. But now's not the time. Hello, Angie. I see your alarm went off. But now is not the time, and it bothers me when I see people who are pro-Biden making comments they shouldn't make. We don't want anything to happen to our president. Yeah, he's at high risk. He's 74 years old and he's extremely overweight. But you still want him to recover. Because that's the worst possible thing that could happen. Because with the election next month, this country would be thrown into, I don't know how to describe it. There are all these scenarios. But what is fact is we need to, if you pray for the president, pray for the first lady. If you're a Biden supporter, lighten up. Like I always say, be kind. Now is not the time for this garbage. Let's get him healthy and let the campaign get back to normal. Let's try to get things back. I don't know if there'll ever be civility again. I can only hope. Very reminiscent of the 60s when I was growing up. Those people who were for the war and those people who were against the Vietnam War. Exactly, Gwen. The nation needs prayers. We don't need Biden supporters wishing ill for the president. This stuff is not fun. I've known people who have died from this. And I've said it once, I'll say it a million times. If I get it, I will die. Some people have died who were relatively healthy. It's just in how it affects the human body. But it appears on the surface that it all goes back, and it could have all occurred when the thing was held in the Rose Garden announcing Amy Coney Barrett as the Supreme Court nominee. Because 8 people that were there now have COVID. The president of Notre Dame, Chris Christie, Kellyanne Conway. And the question is going to be, where did the president pick it up? Because there's going to have, I don't know if you can possibly do the contact tracing, because there have been a couple of rallies. There was a fundraiser last week after the debate, the same day, well, the evening before the morning where he tweeted out that he had it. So I don't know. But what I want the man to recover. And we don't need a dog and pony show of how you're hard at work, sitting at a desk at the hospital, pretending to sign documents. The great Republican Ronald Reagan, there wasn't that kind of stuff going on then. Get well. Focus on that, not how you appear. Your supporters are going to be there. The Trump supporters are going to be there for him. They don't need the dog and pony show. Again, there we are. But let's just hope for the best. Say a prayer for the president. Say a prayer for the first lady. One of my favorite people. And boy, was I mistaken when Chris Christie spoke at the Republican convention the year that Mitt Romney was the nominee. I looked at my son and I said, that man will be president one day. I like Chris Christie. I really do. And the people of New Jersey liked him. So, but back to what happened at the SMU game. There is footage out there where the police did break up the student section and ejected them from the stadium. Kudos to them. They should have done the same thing in Athens. But now it's Georgia-Tennessee week. And the poor Tennessee fans are under this delusion that they're really, really good. Let's see who they beat. Missouri yesterday. And they won their season opener, and I've already forgot who it was against. And They've beaten two mediocre teams. Now, Georgia didn't look that great against Arkansas, but they looked like world beaters against Auburn, or is Auburn extremely overrated? I mean, we thought last week it was great that Mississippi State beat LSU, but LSU is so depleted from their national championship that, yes, South Carolina. That's it. Thanks, Alan. Thank you, Gwen. Let's see how Tennessee does against Georgia before you start proclaiming they're going to be the champions of the SEC East, like everybody in our local paper did today. Tennessee is still not an elite football team. And it's almost, and I hate to do it to my friends who are Florida State fans, in that Florida State is now where Tennessee was for years and years and years. A once great program who is really struggling. Now, there were some people who actually thought that Jacksonville State would go to Tallahassee and beat the Seminoles. That's a pipe dream. That is a pipe dream. It is so rare when an FCS team beats a Power Five. It's very, very rare. So, and people were getting a kick out of saying Florida State upsets Jack State. No, even as bad as Florida State is, if Jacksonville State had won, it would have been a huge upset. And it would have probably been the lead on Sports Center. So, Florida's the real deal. But I don't think anybody's got a dadgum thing for Alabama. They're strong. Because that was supposed to be a very good Texas A&M team yesterday. And Alabama kicked the living crap out of them. Alabama is good. They're really good. So, I mean, we're getting into the season now, and with a few exceptions, Georgia being one, it looks like everybody's doing their part to keep things on the down low with COVID. I think what could happen in the NFL is that instead of pausing the season, they'll just do a lot of bye weeks are going to go away. But the question is this the second or third wave is what I can't figure out. And now that cooler weather is setting in, are we going to be back where we were in February and March? I don't know. That's hard to figure out. I know there were 90 some odd new cases in Hamilton County yesterday. And there have been some high school football teams that have had to, nope, can't play. But I think Friday night we saw who the class of the Chattanooga area is, and that's McCallie. And I hate to put it out there, but you got to remember McCallie's a private school. And there's a big difference. There's a big difference. And that's one thing. And you don't hear a lot of complaining about it in Georgia. or I've never heard a whole lot of complaining about the number of, there's no split except in Class A. From 2A on up, it's every man for themselves, every woman for themselves. But it's gotten to the point, I can't recall the last McCallie, excuse me, McCallie played Calhoun a couple of weeks ago. I can't recall the last time McCallie played a public school. It used to be common. But I think there's an unwritten agreement between the public school coaches to not schedule the private schools. I mean, the excessive number of private schools in Chattanooga has depleted the talent base. The excessive number of high schools in Hamilton County as a whole. Because I am a firm proponent, instead of building East Hamilton High School, they should have built a new high school, combined Ooltewah, or taken Tyner and part of Ooltewah and made a school, then combined Central and Ooltewah or something. If you go to Atlanta, you go to Florida, high schools with 2,000 to 3,000 to 4,000 people are commonplace. It's commonplace. And can you imagine, let's say that Hamilton County consolidated Hickson, Red Bank, and Soddy Daisy into one school. How good would that football program be? How good would the academics be? You just don't know. My feeling is it would be a whole lot better, and it would be a little bit less expensive on the school system. I mean, Hamilton County is behind the 8 ball to begin with because they just don't have the money. They just don't have it. So, but I saw over the weekend, and I'm going to close it out with this. Once again, Hollywood is screwing up. Disney has remade The Right Stuff. Why? That is a classic motion picture in its own right, and it does not need to be remade. Ed Harris is John Glenn. Scott Glenn as Alan Shepard. I mean, why? Dennis Quaid is Gordon Cooper. Sam Shepard as Chuck Yeager. And guess who's left out of the remake? Any reference to Chuck Yeager, who made the entire space program possible when he broke the sound barrier. But he is not even mentioned in this Disney remake. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. It's like there was talk for years they were going to remake Roadhouse, and Ronda Rousey was going to be the Patrick Swayze character. Why? Ronda Rousey couldn't even act as a professional wrestler. Am I wrong, Alan? You're like me, you're a wrestling fan. Ronda Rousey couldn't sell a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That's how bad she was on the microphone. She was horrid. I don't know. But folks, wish the best for our president, whether you agree with him or not. This is a serious situation, and it's time for us all to be serious. Let's stop the campaign on both sides. Just stop campaigning and focus on positive energy so the president gets better. I mean, that's the most important thing. Kudos to the Biden campaign for removing their negative ads. And both campaigns really should be suspended until the president is recovered. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong, and you'll let me know. But folks, I'm going to get out of here. It has been a long, long day. I have been packing, preparing for my move. Now it's just waiting on the phone call to say, everything's ready for you, sir. And I cannot wait. So pretty soon you won't see this living room anymore or the kitchen. You'll see a brand new one. So wish me the best on that one. But go make it a wonderful week. Share a random act of kindness with somebody. And, smile. Really makes the world a little bit better. I think. And if you did not see the Herb Alpert documentary, please go watch it. Oh my God, it was incredible. And they say the best part, well, the entire thing was great, but let me throw a figure out there. To date, Herb Alpert has given away over $150 million. To different arts programs across the country. That's pretty doggone stupendous, if you ask me. Plus, uber talented. Thank you, Cindy Lou. But, and Cindy had messaged me, her mom, damn, you know how to make me feel old, don't you? I still listen to Herb Alpert every now and then. But I've been known to listen to Metallica too. It was the funniest thing. I had to run out for a few minutes and I had it on for whatever reason, it was on the classic rock station. And I get in the car, and Billy Joel, Piano Man, is playing on the radio. And then the very next song was Van Halen, Dance the Night Away. I mean, hey. But I'm a David Lee Roth Van Halen fan, not a Sammy Hagar. So, but that's it. Go make it a great, great, great week. We will be here tomorrow night, good Lord willing, and Thursday night at 7 p.m. And say a prayer for the president and the first lady, for Governor Christie, for Kellyanne Conway, for anybody that has this god awful disease. Remember, give somebody a smile this week and be kind to each other, please.